Okay, welcome everybody. This is the co-stream we do every Wednesday. We got Brian White from Futuriza. We got Nick Gibbs from Investing Against the Grain. I don't know. Did anything happen this week that was of strategic importance for Elon or Tesla?
Hmm.
I can think of
Yeah, the
two.
diner. I got to go down and wear a little Cybertruck cardboard hat. I got to have a second chat with Franz von Holzhausen, and he remembered me, which is shocking. And yeah, so I think just the diner is the only
Yes,
news, or
that's
did I
what it
miss
is.
something?
Yeah, that's what you missed. So a couple big ones, I think, right? Samsung signing a $16.5 billion deal with Tesla. And then just yesterday, right, we got another one, which is the LG batteries. LG, what is it? Brian, help me out here. $4.3 billion battery supply agreement with Tesla. These are just two big deals being signed. This is securing Tesla's future. You got these chips that is required for robots, Optimus, and Robotaxi, anything that moves, anything that's going to become autonomous, AI data centers, and then now you got the batteries that supply. This is just the mega pack batteries at this point. They're going to need way more than this, but it sets them up. So let's just talk about that. Like these are big strategic moves that Elon has been making. I'm quite happy to hear about these. What do you guys think?
I mean, they're all of these are missing pieces of the puzzle. On the LFP, these are what is it, Michigan, where they're building this factory. So the LFPs are going to be domestic. There is sourcing requirements to get the battery production credits, but if Tesla's got the lithium in Texas, they can be giving or selling it to be produced into batteries up north. There are other ways to get your lithium. The graphene is a little harder to come by in the U.S. North America has more than the U.S. has because North America is larger. Canada's got a lot of graphene coming online. But yeah, these are all big moves and partnerships we needed to see. And as Jordan Giesecke pointed out, in regards to the batteries, this will almost be enough because with Lathrop consuming 40 gigawatt hours a year and another one coming online in Texas next year, the demand is insatiable.
No, this is just the beginning, right? So let's start off with the Samsung Tesla deal. Ooh, even Elon himself repeated several times. This is of strategic importance that only 2 to 3 years from now will people even realize what he did here. He called it the Kobayashi Maru move, where in a no-win scenario, he found a way to still win. I think this is going to be big. $16.5 billion, but Elon repeated again several times that it's going to be much, much, several times bigger than this at all. Samsung currently makes the AI4, but they're going to give Samsung the sole, letting their new Texas fab, a fab that's right built in Texas already. I'll show a video of that. That's going to be solely making Tesla's AI6 chip. And he said the strategic importance of this is hard to overstate. I'll play the video of the actual Samsung Texas fab. Nick, what was your reaction? I haven't heard you speak about this yet.
I mean, biggest thing that I saw recently was that Tesla has great genes. So I think we're making the right steps. Like Brian said, we're getting the missing pieces to the obvious missing parts, holes. We're filling all of them. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
The only thing that would make me more excited is if we got news about an actuator supply chain that would
Mm-hmm.
be robust
Mm-hmm.
and and ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually is exactly correct. That's the one of the most important parts of a Optimus bot that hasn't been. We don't know yet if they've secured enough of that. How are they going to make it? Who's going to make it? But the chips, every bot will have one chip. Every car will have two, and then the dojo will need several to support it. So here's Elon saying, "So few understand that this is the most important news of the year so far." He says, "So few understand this. It will become obvious in 2 to 3 years." What do you think he meant by that?
It's going to take longer for Tesla share to run. As a joke.
In 2 to 3 years, I think, I mean, we're not even looking at AI 5 until the end of next year. So 15 to 18 months from now. AI 6, we don't even know what that's going to be. It would be so amazing to be able to see behind the curtain, to know what's coming next and beyond that. So I don't know. I think this is, uh, I think he's giving us as much as we are allowed to know at this time. And that, of course, his role as the CEO, he is limited in what he can say in terms of forward looking statements. But this is, I think having the plant next door means that, and not next door, it's in Taylor, Texas, practically next door.
Yeah,
Compared
pretty
to the
damn next
scale
door.
of Texas, it's closer than the other side of Austin. The You've got the ability to stay hands on. That's the beauty of having your supply chain sourced as close to you as possible. That's an advantage China had. Is if this piece doesn't work, we don't send an email and hope they get it when they start business tomorrow. You drive across town or walk across the compound and say, what are we doing here? How do we fix this? Not that I'm concerned that there will be a lot of issues with it, but this could be the first AI chip that allows for iterative change after launch rather than waiting for a generational change at the end of the particular product cycle.
So why doesn't let's talk stock? The stock doesn't recognize that these are important moves. These are all future things. But if you have a company investing and buying $4 billion worth of batteries, they're buying $16.5 billion of AI chips to be able to create these GPUs. That should tell you something. But of course, nothing happens with a stock. Nobody cares. It'll be years later, right? What do you guys, you know what I mean? Like when you invest in a company and you watch them make these moves, it's an expense, but nothing happens until it shows up later, you know?
So I have two thoughts on that. The first would be that the market doesn't understand the technology. So the analysts don't. The retail investors kind of do. But the bigger thing is a lot of this is baked in. If we're at 150 PE or whatever it may be today, it's very high. We don't necessarily know what the next big announcement is going to be like this. We just know that it's coming. So when this happens, what it does is just reinforce our belief that we already made the right move. It doesn't necessarily encourage us to believe that some new move has been made that would warrant additional investment. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that the stock holding up is showing you that the market is kind of looking at it, right? It's like Elon just got done saying that we're going to have a probably very bad few quarters. He just got done talking about how they'll probably have to raise capital to build more robotaxis, and that the lack of the 7,500, the ZEV credits, all that's going to hurt. And by the way, we're still going to be spending more money on compute and everything. So we have more money going out, less money coming in. Our main source of revenue is going down. Credits are going away. So like a lot of bad news. He had a lot of great future looking statements, sure. But in the meantime, it takes money to make money. And we're not making any money. We're just spending money. So but so the fact that the stock is holding up here just shows you that there is still there's enough buyers of Tesla stock to keep it from dumping, because there's a lot dumping it. I would also say that a lot of what Elon is kind of really good at is getting rid of all the people who would sell, or who would I mean, it's annoying at times, but at the same time, it does have the added benefit of you kind of know that like it's not going to move that much. We're not going to go to $100 because Elon's shaking all those people out at this point. But
Yeah.
I also think a lot of people are like, all that stuff's good, but that's down the road, and we don't really know how it's going to manifest. Right now, what's there to be excited about with Tesla? There's really nothing in the next 6 months that a lot of people care about. There's no real new models. And you know what I mean by that. Let's not parse words. There's no great margin increase. There's no big surplus of demand we're all of a sudden going to see. I mean, everybody's holding the bated breath for, well, there'll be more demand because the $7,500 tax credit is going to go away. If that's your strategy, that ain't sexy. So what is there? Well, the only thing that's left is expansion of robotaxis. And I would say every day that we don't see an expansion, you're probably going to see the stock kind of teeter down, down, down until we see an expansion. So there's just not a lot of excitement really in the next, call it 6 to 12 months. And so the fact that the stock is holding up, I would say it is showing that the market is giving some credit for all these things. It's like, all right, we hear you. We see these puzzle pieces. We see that you started Robotaxi, but where's the money?
So I would say you're right about shaking out the weakest investors. Sometimes I'll have a video I make that I'm really proud of, that I put a lot of work into, that I'm really happy with the final result. And I'll get, 50 new subscribers, but I'll lose 6. And I think, good. Get rid of those. If you didn't like that video, shake them out. Get rid of them. So I'm focusing my audience better. If you look at the percentage of shares held by retail investors versus institutional, hedge funds, mutual funds, retirement pension plans, you'll see that Tesla still has more. At one point, it was like 70-80% retail. It's now down to more like, 60%? But other companies, it's like 30%, which means there's a lot of institutional money that has yet to get into Tesla. That certainly helps. Those companies, a lot of them, will look for any dip as an opportunity to get in, which is why we've seen the floor, when it has some volatility, the floor is set so high, is because if you're starting at 330 and you get to 290, that's looking pretty attractive. They'll jump in more likely at that point. So to what you were saying, yeah, I think when we see these bad quarters, Elon warned it's going to be a bad quarter. And then we see it, we're like, well, we're still free cash flow positive. We're still margin positive. If this is what it looks like when the sky is falling, I can't wait to see it when we take off again, which is a matter of time, because it is, to the people who say it's just a car company, it's overvalued, you're not an investor. If you believe that this is just a car company, you are already not invested and you see no reason to, you are free to exit the discussion. Might as well say that this is just a restaurant company. And for the market cap for a restaurant company, it's way too high. They've got 140,000 employees and only one location. No wonder the dang place is so crowded. I can't get a spot. So you've got to look at the reality, zoom out, and like Nick was saying, you've got so many of these other things coming online in the next 1 to 3 years and beyond, that you need a little bit of sanity if you're going to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, let me share sort of the way I'm thinking about things. You might remember that a couple of months ago, I was the one that was saying that I don't see the stock making a move until first quarter of next year. Because at that point, I felt that the Robotaxi was going to be very, very slow, right? Dip toe, dip toe, dip toe. So I didn't expect that the launch of Robotaxi would cause the stock to jump. I didn't expect that any kind of moves, because it's going to be so small throughout the year. Now, so let's take a look. We know that cars is going to be a bad year, and maybe even the next 2 quarters next year is going to be fairly low. He's already warned us about it, but I think it feels like that's built in. You can already see that what happened with the last 2 earnings calls, you had bad numbers for the vehicles, didn't sell off like crazy. I think that's already understood, that the Tesla has already made that transition into an AI company. But it's also understood that you're not going to get the earnings from that until the second half of next year or longer. So we're in that stage yet again, waiting. But this is a new thinking that I've been starting to think through to see whether or not there's truth to this. I just interviewed Joe Bacti a couple of days ago. He has a new theory, and I'm going to do a deep dive with him on this theory. His theory is that Tesla's goal for this year is to not have 2,000 cars or more in Austin. What they're going to do is expand quickly in multiple jurisdictions, seeding multiple cities as fast as possible. So they already have Austin with just 11 cars. And they're going to take their time to grow that, even as they grow the geofence. Then they're going to launch in San Francisco, right? And that's going to be another controlled launch with just minimal cars, minimal invite only. Then they'll launch another one in other cities, but small, tiny, seating. He thinks that that's the way that they're going to do, because you need to get started with multiple cities to start the process of getting regulation approval. Like in California, they have this rule that it has to be the very first thing you do as a vendor for autonomous driving. You have to have a safety driver in the driver's seat until you accumulate 50,000 miles, and then you can then move to the next stage. So why wouldn't they want to do that for as many cities as possible? Small number of cars, seed it, get to know how it runs, still very manageable, lowest risk, multiple cities, and then you expand. And that's where you get Elon's comment now makes sense when he says, I think by the end of this year, we might have a presence that serves 50% of the population. But of course, it's going to be limited by invite only and a small number of cars still. That's his new theory. And it kind of makes sense, because that's what Waymo's doing. They're kind of trying to expand multiple cities, but they have only 300 cars and 100 cars in Austin. Instead of doing 300 cars in Austin like they'd have in San Francisco, they're going to seed other cities with small numbers of cars as well, because you need to get there. You need to start. So what happens if this year you were saying, Nick, you were saying, the stock would move with Robotaxi expansion? Yeah,
I'm laughing.
You don't agree. You don't
can't
agree with this at all. Okay, yeah, let's go. Let's hear it.
I didn't say I don't agree. I just think it's funny that we're speaking of this like it's a novel idea or theory. It's exactly what Elon's been saying for the last 6 months.
Right.
There's nothing different than what he's been saying for the last 6 months.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, worth noting, Elon says a lot of things. So
no, but no one ever said 2,000 vehicles in Austin. Only Joe said that. No one else said that.
Oh, I see.
Elon said that we're going to start in Austin and we'll go to San Fran. He talked about they have permitting in Arizona they're working on. Like this is the plan. This is the only plan that Tesla's proposed to us at all.
But so let's say you have 11 cars in Austin. What's your expectation of how many cars they should have there? Like, did you not think that it was going to be over 1,000 there at some point? Or do you think that it's not some point, but like soon? Or do you think that they'll limit it to, I don't know, 100?
1,000 seems excessive.
I told you guys last week was earnings call. So the week before that, I told you I don't really care about how many cars they put. I care about the increase in surface area. Like you can always add more vehicles, but if you have the surface area open to cover this huge range, that's all that matters to me. They can add vehicles later. It's what's the actual area we can drive to that you feel confident in. That's what I care about.
No. By the way, this is also ARK Invest's theory, by the way. Not this, but their theory was actually saying that they think that in Austin, they will have 300,000 cars in Austin. Did you see the report that they just dropped? I'm trying to find it now.
300.
Did she say by one?
Cars in Austin. That's
I'm sure one day it will be something like that, but I don't think she says when.
300,000.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it.
But again, the whole dip toe. The way he said it was first we'll dip a toe, then we'll dip a leg, then we'll do an arm. That's how he said on the earnings call. And he was talking about from one city and expanding and going to another city and then expanding. And then again, they iterated it again. We know San Fran, we know Arizona. He said Florida. He said like a handful of cities. So I don't know. Like maybe I missed something, but the thought of this is like some new theory. It's like it's the theory they told us.
Yeah, it eliminates a lot of the guesswork when they do tell us. But 300,000 seems like, I mean, do they have enough roads? That's a very high number.
Where we're going, there won't be no roads.
I mean, maybe if it got so proliferated that people stopped buying cars, I could see that.
That's the only way. It would have to be all the cars. I mean, Tesla's U.S. production, that would be most of Tesla's U.S. production as of today's rates. But
wouldn't that be wonderful?
I mean, yes, but that's a lot of things would be wonderful.
I know.
And some of them will happen.
Herbert, what are you reading so intently over there?
I'm trying to find the
Dear
report.
diary.
Today, Nick was mean again.
I do that at nighttime. I go, today Nick was mean to me today. All right. You guys, you're funny. All right, forget it. Let's talk about this new pricing. Do you guys see this, right? New pricing as Robotaxi. Nick, are you even aware that this happened? Are you keeping track?
Yes,
Dude.
of course I am. Farzad
Right.
reposted it. Someone else
Uh-huh.
posted it first. They went from end to end, 11 miles, and it was like $16 or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
aware.
this is, I have the Robotaxi app and I opened it up and you can see that there's a new version that they've downloaded, the crate, and it says here, short rides now cost less with dynamic pricing. And
it expires in 90 days.
what? Oh, no, this is the app. This is the Tesla Flight app, which is
Weird.
just for the beta testers. So this is Tesla Chan. He happens to be in Austin and he dropped this great table and he tested it out pretty quickly. It looks like this is today, as of this morning today. Airbnb accommodation, that's where he lives. He went to these various destinations and sometimes he'll take a Robotaxi for 0.9 miles and 9 miles. And then looks like that its price was $2. So it's variable pricing now. That's the big switch. No longer the $4.20 or the $6.90 that they switched to. Now it's variable pricing. So this is $2.10 for that, $12 for 9 miles. And Søren Basher did a great job just kind of thinking through and figuring out what's going on here. And he figured out that there's a base fare of 75 cents and then a per mile cost that ranges from $1.50 to $1.93, depending on, I guess, right, usage and so forth. So yeah, that's what's going on here. So it's on average, the cost per mile is $1.95. Yeah, again, most of us knew that this was going to be the case, that they're going to go to variable pricing. Some people like Connect the Dots did an incredible video, and he was adamant that it was going to be a fixed fare, zone-based pricing, $4.20 or $6.90 per zone, just like buses. No, that's not what's happening. They're going through variable pricing.
And that makes sense. I mean, you've got the people who were saying it was going to be a zone, I think, don't understand how much money that can leave on the table. There were times when someone will open the app and see the price is, if the price didn't matter, none of it would matter. But even pennies can make someone price sensitive. You don't want to overcharge for a short trip. You don't want to undercharge for a long trip. And by not having zones, it makes the fact that the pricing is variable less obvious. People just get it. It's going to be different all the time. But if you got on the bus, if there was a 2-zone bus fare, but it's different during peak hours and variable throughout the day, I think people get annoyed. So just having the flexibility, I think, is important.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Waymo or Uber start to do anything about that. Right now, it's really probably not a threat, but it's they definitely saw it.
So, I love what we're seeing here, right? I mean, in this case, it's actually very, very fast how quickly I think Tesla is improving the app, adding new features, changing things as we go. Looks like it's moving really well for software developers and people who own software companies, this is lightning speed. Every week or every 2 weeks, there's a new update with new features. So what do you guys think about that? Just come back to this. Okay, we all now agree this is what's going to happen. Tesla's going to launch it cities by city. Let's say once a month, one city, and then there's small number of cars still available, still tested. What will happen to the stock when they do that? Nothing, or something. What do you guys think?
I think a whole lot of this stuff is priced in. I think there is very little Tesla could unveil today that would give me a different opinion on the value of the stock. And for a lot of retail investors, they're already all in. It's hard to scrape up fresh gunpowder. And
Isn't there like a moment at some point you go, oh my gosh,
Sure.
Tesla's now, somebody told me who was it? Stock Talk. He said 3 cities. He goes, he feels that as soon as the Tesla's Robotaxi is available in 3 cities, that's enough to get investors realize that this is a go. Like, as in, they can map out how big this is going to be, how much money they're going to make in the future, and they're going to start getting ahead of the earnings. He thought 3 cities.
It's different for everyone. For some people, it's already there. Some people I have seen in the last few weeks, I have talked to, you probably talked to some of them as well in San Mateo over the weekend at the X Takeover. People said, I saw Robotaxi and or I rode Robotaxi. My commitment is new and fresh. Let's do this. I'm ready to go all in some more with whatever fresh powder I can find. But other people are waiting to see a second city, a third, a 10th. I think once we get to the point where they say, next week we're going to unleash in Tuscaloosa, and boom, the whole city's flooded, that is going to be the last milestone in the I don't get it chain. You will have no choice but to understand it at that point. And then everyone will be trying to model it and figure out the actual value. But it's going to be different for every investor.
Yeah, it's. I think this next expansion, gentlemen, will be one of consequence, especially if it's in Austin and the surface area is what we've been seeing, or I believe my understanding of the earnings call 10x the size of what it is now. That was my understanding of the interpretation. And then if they go into California, and even if it is with a driver, until they can get the proper licensing permits, if they're going from San Fran all the way down to Palo Alto, there's nothing more that needs to be said at that point. At that point, we know that this is scalable and that they can do it. It works. Now it's just about, can we do it safely and slowly increase the amount of vehicles? Even if for the rest of the year, all they did was continue to expand Austin and that California region, that would be huge. That'd be just beyond huge. If all they did was, that's it, we're going to do San Fran all the way down to Palo Alto, which many people live in San Fran, travel down to Palo Alto and vice versa, down to Sunnyvale and all that. And sorry, Brian's yelling at me, guys. Apparently I'm too hot again.
It's what the comments are saying. The chat's saying, Nick, it's comments.
Hot. You guys, oh gosh,
speak a little further back from your mic. It's a pretty simple fix.
I got issues. I want to, Brian knows, right, Brian? Anyways,
personal space.
Yeah. Anyways, I think that will be a big deal, but that's not what I think is going to happen. I really do think that September, October, November, we're going to start to see this really unfold, and it's just seeing these validation vehicles in all these areas. It just does not feel like their next expansion is going to be a small iteration the way we're seeing Waymo. It does not feel that way.
The other thing worth noting on the validation vehicles is we don't see them until they are ready to deploy. So it's not like Waymo where we saw them out on the roads testing for a decade before any hint as to if they were even going to show up. In the Pacific Northwest, Herbert and I have seen Waymo forever, and you still can't get one. You still can't take a ride in the Northwest. So Tesla, on the other hand, validates, releases.
Yeah, these Model Ys or these validation vehicles are being found all over the place. This one is 20-minute drive, San Bruno, California. I think down here, somebody said over the weekend, I saw one in Foster City. So this is Bay Area, which is massive. And then they might 10x in Austin. But now people will say, they'll just say, not a big deal. These are supervised drivers. Now, these validation vehicles tell you that they're thinking going beyond supervised, but right now it is supervised. So people are just going to ignore it all over again.
What I loved was the people saying they're definitely not coming to California, even though some of us had inside scoop that it was real as early as last Thursday, and because they haven't applied for the permits. And then when the emails started going out to the beta testers, it said, by the way, in California, It is supervised. Outside of California, it will be, this terms of service includes unsupervised. So that all they had to do was move the safety observer one seat to the left,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there you go. Now it's valid. So yeah, Tesla has thought of these things. They don't generally forget to dot their I's. So have some confidence.
Mm.
What is going on with the San Fran rollout? Like, what do we know about that? Because it seemed like it was set to go this past weekend, and then crickets.
I do not know the answer to that. I am still hearing crickets, but even the crickets are getting quiet, so I'm not sure.
Right, you're funny. Okay. Let me share with you what's happening in California.
California.
California. So you're right. This was what we knew. Again, I have the Robotaxi app. When I opened it up, there was this new terms of service, and it said there, if your ride is taking place in California, it's being conducted with a safety driver. So it directly from the app, getting you set up. This image on the left, which is the service area, we don't know if this is real. Somebody posted it and then they deleted it. So it may be real, but this is like San Francisco, Oakland, and San Jose. So that would be the whole Bay Area. And then in blue, that's where Waymo operates.
I thought Waymo had already expanded beyond that. I guess not.
I don't know. And then so what happened? We don't know. It was going to be on Monday. It was going to be, everybody was reporting. But again, these are all reports. Nobody knew. So, yeah. Don't have the answer to why they postponed it, but I'm pretty confident it's happening. There's no doubt at this point that that's happening.
Yeah.
If Waymo was announcing a new city tomorrow, my first question would be, do you have enough cars? Can you? That is a question you don't need to ask Tesla, because the answer is today. No, of course not. But we'll make them tomorrow or today. We've got the printer running. So,
and here's another one. This is Tesla themselves hiring an AP, an autonomous. What? What's an AP? The autopilot. Autopilot vehicle operators in the Bay Area who are flexible to commute between Palo Alto and San Francisco. We're hosting hiring events in the Bay Area over the next several weeks, so apply while there are still spots. There you go.
Neat. And I did have someone leave a comment saying, I have applied for this, but I haven't heard anything back. It's too soon, I think, to have heard back necessarily. And remember, Tesla gets something like 100 applicants for every position. So it may be that they went another direction or just haven't gotten to it yet. I just don't know.
So all of these could very well be, as they expand, supervised driving. So again, I think that investors, general investors, will just discount it and go, yeah, it's just supervised, not a big deal. But it sets them up for regulation to move faster and further, and then they'll go boom, 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 and then they've got it.
Maybe you guys can educate me on this. And I imagine a lot of viewers, I imagine, are also wondering, what boxes does Tesla need to check to get approval? Like, what does it have to do? What does it have to demonstrate? Like, what's the missing piece that they can't just go ahead and do it?
So
it depends on each state, right?
In most states, there is no approval process. California,
I get all that. Just California. Right. I'm just, what do we have to do to?
Yeah, I don't actually have the write-up on it. Somebody showed it to me, though. Unfortunately, I'm usually prepared, but it is what I just said, right? In California, and you can see here, these are all the vendors that already have a permit. This permit, a manufacturer with a permit to test with a safety driver is authorized to test on any public road within the state of California. All of these guys here, all of them have it. Now, they're all prototypes, right? They have a car or two here. And what it is I believe the very first 50,000 miles must be, if you're a vendor trying to do an autonomous vehicle, you have to have 50,000 miles where you have a safety driver supervised.
Tesla could do that in one day.
Right. That's what they're doing now. That's why they're launching this, and they're going to get that 50,000. And then once they get the 50,000 miles of supervised, then they can switch to the next thing, which is 50,000 miles of, I think, a safety monitor, and then they switch off. I don't know. I think that that's what it is, and I've got to confirm, but I was just shown it last week, and I don't know why I don't have the screenshots. I apologize.
It would be wild to just open up a San Francisco to Los Angeles commuter service and run it for a week with 100 cars just back and forth nonstop. You'd hit 50,000 instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
So each state has their own different rules, and that's why the theory, you're saying it's not a theory, it's already been communicated, that Tesla will just do very small, limited cars, 11 cars, get in every city as fast as possible, start passing through those regulations, and just that. So what will that do to investor sentiment if they see this?
But that's how it has to happen regardless. You can't just go into a city and start off big. You can't. You have to go in there, you have to start small, and you have to expand from there. Like that's how everything works in life. You gotta start small and then you can scale. You can't start at scale. Doesn't work. But I think the main thing is to get into probably all of the, like, from California down. I'm excluding Washington and Oregon because I imagine they're avoiding snowy states. But California down, all those Southwest states, all the way to the Southeast. I imagine those are all the states they're trying to hit.
Now that you mention it, that is what the map looks like.
Which
Good
map?
catch. Well, the list of states that Elon has said out loud: Florida,
Oh,
Texas,
really?
Arizona, California.
Yeah. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think California, Texas, Florida makes sense. Those are the three most populous states.
High population, yes, and limited snow.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of that in Florida.
Not a lot.
No. Man,
right.
Tesla stock is not going too hot today.
Maybe you should loan it your microphone.
Get it hot.
Oh, gosh.
Gosh.
I enjoyed that.
So Elon can make all these strategic moves. They're blockbuster, game-changing moves. But that's okay. Stock won't react. It's all about the future still. But I'm telling you, the confidence that Tesla is an AI company, the confidence that Tesla is going to own real-world AI, that they've got the bots, they've got the Robotaxis, it's going to be both at scale and now AI data centers. That's going to be something new, I think. It's just unbelievable that this is one company that's doing all this, and they're all going to scale at this point. And when you see Elon make moves that are usually ahead of, you see these moves and he's planned something ahead that's about to come. Like he said, it'll become obvious in 2 to 3 years. That sets the company up versus no other competitor out there is doing any of this. So as investors, people hate to hear it, which is just wait. But I just said on the weekend that, we keep saying, oh, just wait. But it's different today versus what it was 6 months ago because we actually have Robotaxi. It is alive. It is working already. It's being proven that it actually works. We're actually getting revenue. So it's like that is now the chance of that failing has gotten down significantly. Chance of it succeeding has risen very significantly. So as an investor, I'm feeling so confident at this point. Robotaxi is solved. It's just a matter of rollout, and people are patient or impatient to say, why can't it happen now? And why can't the stock jump? But
yeah, I mean, I think by the end of the year, we're still going to be at all-time highs. Like the path to that seems very clear.
So you still think that the end of this year will hit all-time highs? Stock.
Oh, yeah. It
didn't sound that's what you were saying 10 minutes ago. Misinterpreted what you were saying.
When did I say that we wouldn't hit all-time highs?
I don't know. You said Q4 is bad, Q1, Q2. Elon says this, and
that is what Elon said. Just because I'm repeating what Elon says doesn't mean anything.
Okay, good.
But
you think it's gonna be all time?
there's also this idea that it makes sense in Q2 to get all the bad news out, and that may have been what he was doing.
Q2, yeah, last quarter.
During the earnings call to get all the bad news out, get all the cobwebs out. That way, there's no surprises now. There's no Wall Street being overly bullish with their whispered numbers, and we can go into Q3 and Q4 with low expectations.
Do you guys agree with this sentiment that if you were Elon, you wouldn't be pumping the company right now? You want to wait until you've got your master plan until you've got your comp plan set up, which won't be revealed until September, and we won't be voting on until November.
I can see truth in that. He has never really focused on the share price, not since hitting all the milestones in the unpaid compensation plan. And I see a lot of comments where people, this is just him pumping the stock. It's a pump and dump. So you have to sell for it to be a pump and dump. If there's no dump, I don't know what you're talking about. And none of these big announcements really moved the stock. And they haven't in years. Anything since the Model Y unveil hasn't really moved the stock that much, unless you count the Cybertruck unveil, which really took a bite out of the share value because people didn't get it. AI Day, Battery Day, Investor Day, these did not move the stock. So I think the same people who complained that he was too optimistic with his forward-looking statements are now complaining that he's too pessimistic with his statements. Which one do you want? Is anything going to make those people happy? At some point, you stop trying to please the critics when you realize you can't.
But so the people who say that he is purposely keeping the stock down, I mean, okay, on the weekend, he basically said, or in the earnings call, he said that I think Robotaxi is going to be able to service 50% of the United States population by the end of this year. I think that by the end of this year, we're going to have unsupervised FSD where you can sleep in your car. I think that we're going to have, billions of bots in the future. And I'm so proud of the Optimus 3. I don't know what other statements you think that he's toning down. That
it was just his mood. Or as my mom would say too, when we were kids, it's not what you said, it's how you said it.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I can sit here and say,
stock will hit all-time highs. The stock is going to hit all-time highs in the end of this year. That's what he basically did say.
Yeah, I could be like, yeah, Brian, you're good looking. Or, Brian, you are so good looking.
Good looking.
I can't decide which is more sarcastic.
Yeah. So, tone does matter because tone gives confidence. And for those who say tone doesn't matter, BS, man. BS. Like, what fantasy world are you living in? Connotation always matters. Tone matters. Go back, take a very basic writing class. Tone matters. Words matter. Delivery matters. Always. And we know that because we see when Elon's in a good mood and a bad mood. We see that. Mm-hmm. And that's one critique of Elon. The other critique on that call was all of a sudden, we haven't given much thought about other people putting their cars into the network. Like a lot of the things that he's talked about and we've talked about, it's like all of a sudden, one day, afterwards,
come on,
it's delayed.
Nick.
I'm being honest.
He said that words, but then Ashok said, we obviously they have been because in order to do this, we need to validate the drivers, we have to validate the cars, the tire threads, and all that. That clearly they've thought about it. He gave you details.
Elon, a big boy, he's 50-something years old. He shouldn't need mommy to come and clean up because he misspoke. He's on an earnings call and he knows that what he says matters. So. Dude, lock it up for 2 seconds.
I can hear Nick's tone. I love it. I can hear Nick's tone.
What is in the drinking water this week, you guys?
Well, today it's Yeti, sponsored by Element, LMNT. Get your electrolytes.
Do you guys think, and I think majority of people I've asked the question agree, that the Elon's compensation plan, if it's approved, is going to be a big stock mover? And that could get you your all-time high by the end of this year.
That's not why I think we're going to get all-time highs. I think the whole stock comp plan it probably will move the stock. I don't think he said or did anything last week because of his plan. He's I don't think ever been motivated by that. Yeah, he wants 25% of the company, but I don't think he's if he was that calculated, then I think we would see a lot more of that. And I don't think he's that premeditated. We've never seen anything in his communication with us that he's that premeditative because he has this other alternative plan. Like the dude is as transparent as it gets. Like I would love to play him in poker because I feel like you could just read him like a book. He just doesn't hold anything back.
He'll still win though. yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well, he just keeps going all in, and I can't match it.
Nick thinks he's gonna beat Elon at poker. I got that recording there. Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll take that all day. Hell, I'll take Chamath and I'll take all of them as well. Bring it
All
on.
right. Well, I'll set it up.
Let's do it. Hey, I've tried to have a Tesla podcaster
Elon
poker game.
is the best in calculating probabilities. He's the best. He has great.
He's
memory.
almost as good as you saying it.
Listen to my tone. No. It's come on. You think you can beat Elon in poker?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But no, I don't think there's any premeditated plan there, and it's not why I think we're going to reach all-time highs. I think we're going to reach all-time highs because of the rollout of Robotaxi. I think it's really that simple. And as we start to see more of like, what's the pricing going to look like? How fast is it rolling out? Like it at some point it becomes inevitable. And I think the most inevitable part is once you see that there are multiple cities and they've already, in the future, in next 6 months, they've already surpassed Waymo on how many vehicles they have out there. Like, just think about it. It will be a winner's take all market. Once Tesla surpasses Waymo, what the hell does Waymo do? How do they catch up? They went from 0 to passing you and they're moving faster.
If they surpass Waymo based on geography, which is what you're saying, not
or vehicles,
based on cars,
vehicles.
But not cars. So what if it is, like guys were saying, the seeding theory, you don't need to have 1,500 cars by the end of this year?
I don't think it'll matter. I think it's just coverage is what matters. But I also don't think that they're going to sit there with just 11 cars. Like
no, I know it's going to go, but it's not. Their strategy may not be 1,000 cars in Austin. It might be, 100 cars here, 100 cars there, 100 cars there.
If they go ahead and launch in Austin, they increase the area 100 or 10x.
Yeah.
They're not going to increase. You're going to need more than 100 cars.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see 300,000 cars, but you're going to need more than 100 cars. And especially if you're coming San Fran all the way down to Palo, 100 cars is nothing.
I think that San Fran to Palo Alto could be a temporary service area because they want to get their 50,000 miles and it's supervised and they want to test anyway. So they want to test as big an area as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
So, guys, I'm going to cut out here. We've got 10 minutes left to go in the show, so don't you leave too. But when the show ends, if you're watching on my channel or Herbert's channel, it will automatically redirect you to my after show where I will be answering your questions. There's so many great ones that came in on the chat. Nick, awesome work this week. Appreciate you, my brother. Herbert, good to see you as always. And to all of you out there, I'll see you in about 10 minutes. I'm sure you'll all be there.
I'll miss you.
See you, buds.
Later, Herbert.
So Nick, Nick.
I'm kidding.
You did that one to me. You did that to me one time.
Did I?
You abandoned me. I had to sit here for 5 minutes all by my own. So do not do that again.
Oops.
So one way that the stock could hit all-time highs, as you keep reminding me, of course, is the economy and the interest rates. If they cut interest rates, that could really bolster Tesla's sales of cars. What is your guess or what your estimate forecast of what's going to happen with the Fed and interest rates? You said that today they did not cut, right?
Yeah, they didn't cut, and I'm not listening to the call. which the market is flat but down. And Tesla's down 2.5% roughly, and falling actually. I actually have I was talking to Randy last night. I kind of think they're going to do a 50 basis point cut in September, which is more than what anyone's expecting. But I think, I think there's a good chance of that we start seeing it get more aggressive. But I'm reading here, Powell is definitely saying that they're not really planning on any cuts right now. They're just going to be data dependent, more of the same stuff. He said that Fed might be looking through inflation by not hiking. So he's kind of doing the opposite, talking about potentially hiking rates.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I would expect fireworks after he's done talking with Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He says labor market's not weakening, says range of views on what neutral rate is at this moment. So they don't even know what neutral is. In other words, he's potentially putting forth the idea that we are at neutral. This is what it sounds like. So I don't know. He's steadfast on what he thinks, and I don't know. I think he's wrong. I think he's been wrong for a long time. Every decision he's made up to this point has been wrong. He was just, they kept pumping more money, creating more money, quantitative easing, while we were seeing 5-6% inflation. They just kept doing it. Right. They took another 3 months before they cut, and then they started cutting too late. They stopped quantitative easing too late, and now it seems like they're kind of going the other way.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. I mean, it's a hard job, but at the same time, there's a lot of noise, and they should be leveraging technology to actually have a good sense of where things are, but they don't. It's so antiquated. They literally have people that go to a supermarket and get price and write it down on a piece of paper. And like, there's no reason why we can't know what the average cost of a loaf of bread is across the entire United States in real time. Mm-hmm. Like, if we can do that for stocks, we can do that for whatever the CPI is going to measure, whatever that basket of goods are. So I don't know. There's a lot to not like, but it's definitely having a big issue across the board with a lot of Americans. And inflation, in my opinion, inflation is dead. What we have is high prices from the inflation we had that haven't rescinded. We don't have deflation right now. But when you don't have any more inflation and you keep rates up high, it hurts everybody. Like you could get people a relief by allowing them to what's wrong with me? To refinance their vehicles, their houses, to go and get cheaper debt, right? To be able to do things, businesses, and then business can pass that on, right? It can be very stimulative for the economy, but there's this weird idea out there that if you lower rates, inflation goes up, but they're not actually tied together. The only reason rates have anything to do with inflation is that we raise rates to slow the economy down. Slowing the economy down has an effect on inflation, but they're not actually tied to each other. Now, when you cut rates, that can speed up the economy, but that doesn't create inflation. Just because you have a hot economy doesn't mean inflation goes up. Inflation only goes up when you increase the money supply, and not just that, but you increase the velocity of that money supply. So it's how fast that money is moving, exchanging hands. That's why when Biden sent out that second round of checks to everybody, that was inflationary, because that immediately went to everybody's hands and they immediately were able to spend. That's extreme velocity of money. Not good. So Milton Friedman said it the best. Inflation is a government-made thing. Too much money printing. It's not you. It's not me. It's the government.
So then why are you confident that they might cut by 50 basis points in September?
I think Powell is caving to Trump, and I think whenever they do cut, it's going to have to be aggressive. That's a long time between now and September when they meet. I think things might break between now and then. I think we might see. Look, August is historically a scary month in the markets. So, investors beware. August is not your friend. And if something's going to happen, I think it's going to happen in August. So it's just a gut feeling. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to crack. I don't know what the issue is going to be. I don't know. If I knew, I'd be able to place a bet on it, but I don't. And that's how most of these things tend to be, right? You know what it was last August? Last August, because crazy thing, it's been a year already, was the yen carry trade.
Oh, yes.
The yen carry trade,
I remember that. Yep.
Crashed everything. It was a crazy overnight thing, but that's what happened last August. So we'll see what happens this August. But I'm of the belief something's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think the chances that interest rates are cut is higher than interest rates not being cut. So hopefully that will happen in the second half of this year, and then that could spur more bullishness back in the market, right?
Yeah, good. As long as the cuts happen for good reasons, not bad reasons.
And then that should bolster Tesla stock because interest rate. Well, again, you've explained it. It does not necessarily mean that people can borrow money, right? It's not an easy stream.
The Fed affects short-term interest rates, right? And car loans tend to be short-term interest rates. So, it'd be fine. But at the same time, Tesla's already taking care of interest rates. So interest rates aren't really an issue for purchasing Teslas. So that's not the problem there. The problem is that people just aren't honestly, this economy is perfect. Everything is perfect for Robotaxi. It's perfect. It's everything that BlackRock and all them wanted, but for housing, right? For housing, they said you will own nothing, you'll only rent, and you'll love it. You'll be happy. Hey, this economy is great. Don't buy a car. Just use Robotaxi.
Okay. What else can make the stock jump at the end of this year? You think it's Robotaxi rollout? Is that it? That's it?
I think it's very binary. It's Robotaxi. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's other things, right? Like more sales, better margins. Like, of course, that all helps. But
to get us to all-time high, though, is what I'm talking about, right? So 320 to over 420. But I mean, the bot was one that I thought was going to happen, and now they pulled back because of a potential. I think the most likely reason is that there is a limited supply of this planetary rose glue, one of the important parts. So he scaled back. It sounds like he scaled back. Did he scale back in terms of what he said that they will produce by the end of this year? He didn't really say anything. He just said Model 3.
He said a few hundred.
The version 3 is amazing. So, I think they might have decided not to produce the version 2 in 1,000, 2,000, because they still need to make that run rate, the production run rate of 1,000 per month. And it does sound like that they're behind. And I think it's because of this one part.
Right? I don't think they're behind. That's not what they said. They said that they're not going to make, why would they waste time if they feel like the version 3 is ready? Why would they waste time building out version 2? You might as well just go to version 3. That delays things, but really you just shifted the timeline left. You shifted it earlier.
Yeah, they're not behind for next year, but they are behind for what he was hoping to hit this year. He said 5 to 10,000 this year,
he was
hoping to get a run rate of 1,000 per
measuring
month.
Stick. That's not the right measuring stick.
It's
not. It's not his. He literally said on the call,
What?
Herbert, would you rather them build out 2 million versions of the Model 3 from 2020, or would you rather them?
No, of course not.
build the new Model 3?
I'm totally happy that what you're doing with the version 3. But he said earlier, just in January, this is what they're targeting for the year, and that's changed.
They probably didn't think that the version 3 would be as ready as it is as soon as it is. So what's the point of building out a supply chain, building out an assembly line for something that's dated?
Okay. Well, the point is that you still need to learn how to build a production line that they've never done before.
But that production line may be wrong if it's version 2 because they made so many changes to version 3.
Yeah.
Why would I waste time building that production line?
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't read too much into it personally.
Yeah. Well, anyways, regardless of what we're saying, we're unlikely to see thousands of bots this year.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree
And
with that.
that could have been one of a potential catalysts if you saw thousands of bots.
That's true.
You could still see demos of the version 3. It sounds like they're going to show us, reveal it in the shareholder meeting. Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't
that'll
hear
be
anything.
interesting.
Yeah. And if they reveal that, and he said that's exquisite, it's almost every part's different than the version 2, but just seeing one is not enough. You think you need to see it actually doing useful work in the factories. Now, if you saw 10 of them in the factory doing useful work, could that be enough to excite investors and go, this company's onto something? Or do they need to see 1,000 of them to really show that this company can mass produce this already and it's well on its way as a real product?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think it's as important personally.
Yeah. So that's why we're saying now. Initially, a few months ago, I was going to that could be the stock catalyst, something to do with that. But if it's not 1,000, if it's 100, not quite sure yet if that's going to move the stock this year. Yeah. So most likely not.
I think it's all Robotaxi. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's immediately revenue generating. Immediately. So the faster they can grow that, the faster we get more of this new source of revenue, the better. I mean,
could unsupervised FSD, if that does roll out sometime this year, could that actually increase vehicle sales because it becomes a demand driver? If people even understand that it's a real thing. If I buy a Tesla, it's going to allow me to sleep. If that catches on, some sort of imagination or just understanding by people, consumers who are buying cars, could they increase cars sales back up?
If Tesla does the most obvious things that they can
advertise, promote,
simple advertising, Herbert, meaning if there's a update that they're going to push out, part of that update, advertise FSD. Meaning if you're going to charge for FSD, don't do it monthly or yearly, do it by the mile and make that a little more expensive. And if you charge by the month, you get better pricing than if you just do by the mile. And if you do by the year, you get better pricing, right? Make it so easy for people to use. Like lower the barriers. $100 a month, people don't like that because maybe they feel they don't get their money's worth. But if you give them a chance to use it by the mile, and by the mile, it's more expensive than by the month after 100 miles, then eventually they'll go and they'll use the actual service.
Maybe even give it away for free for several months so that especially if you're in a state where you got unsupervised FSD and you get it, and boy, you can word of mouth telling people I slept in my car to take me to work. Obviously it's only going to launch in probably Austin and California at first, limited geographies, but boy, that could be the more people talking about it.
You never, ever, 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 ever give any good software for free. When you give it for free, people think it's no good.
Yeah, it's got a value to it.
It's a psychological thing. It's why know why people call things enterprise software, or like they put these pro level or Hulu Plus. They do this for a reason because psychologically we feel like we're getting a better value. So it's a real thing. I never believed into it. Did a deep dive. Don't give anything for free ever.
Good. Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate everybody. Stay on here. You'll get moved to. You'll automatically move to YouTube. Brian White's YouTube channel. See everybody.